Hi, I'm Rachel Farnsworth. I'm Wellness with Rachel. I'm an multi-award winning transformational coach and wellness therapist, specializing in anxiety, autoimmune disease, and alcohol dependency. And I'm about to be on the online Prosper Show talking about all kinds of things about health, about wellness, how it is available to you, about my first client who impacted my story and hers, and it's about true health, true wellness with passion and purpose and without countless sessions, because life is for living and not therapy.
Welcome to yet another inspiring episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have a remarkable guest who's truly changing lives and transforming futures. Rachel, how are you doing, my love?
Wow, what a welcome. Thank you. I'm doing really great. Thank you very much. How are you? And thank you for having me on here. It's amazing.
It's super excited here because, while we were just talking behind the scenes, I couldn't wait to hit the record button because I just can't wait to extrapolate all the, your journey and to discover the extraordinary work and the insights and experiences that you have achieved as an award-winning transformational coach and wellness therapist. Now, it is a pleasure to have you on here today. Let's maybe start by diving into who you are and what it is that you do. And, you can just share with our viewers a little glimpse of maybe your background and the path that actually led you to become a transformational life changer.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm Rachel Claire Farnsworth. I'm Wellness with Rachel, and I specialise in helping people overcome anxiety, autoimmune disease, and alcohol dependency. And the little bit about me is that I didn't wake up thinking I was going to do this. This isn't the plan. Isn't it funny how the universe has things for you which you hadn't? It sort of just keeps dropping breadcrumbs, and you just follow the breadcrumbs, and that's what I was doing. I was going through my second marriage, and it wasn't working out very well. My kids had decided to go and live with their dad, and that I didn't know who I was if I wasn't a full-time mum. And so one of my friends said, I'd always thought of you as a psychotherapist. What do you do with that? How long does that take to train? So it really didn't interest me at all, but it did make me think about going to be a counsellor, because that seemed quite a normal thing to do. But the universe worked in a really weird way, because if it said go and do hypnotherapy training, I'd have gone absolutely not. But the counselling course had got hypnotherapy training that you had to do for the first year. So I thought I'd sleepwalk through that and do the counselling, except I never did the counselling because hypnotherapy grabbed my attention. And I ended up doing two courses simultaneously. I did an advanced hypnotherapy course as well as this one, the first one that I found. And I qualified in June 2018. And at that time, my daughter was just going through a flare-up of her autoimmune disease. She'd got juvenile idiopathic arthritis. She'd had it for 14 years. She was diagnosed when she was a year old. And we decided to have a session together because she'd come off the drugs that she'd been on, which was methotrexate. And they said, she may have outgrown it, which we were obviously really excited about. Only 8 weeks of not taking the drugs, they said, she's got a flare up. She was in pain again. She needs to go back on the drugs. And we were in the doctor's room, and Emily and I, my daughter and I, looked at each other and went, absolutely not. We can't go through that again. Because isn't it odd how we got used to her she was self-injecting every weekend, and it made her violently ill every weekend. So we had no weekend. We were just in the bathroom watching her throw up. Sunday, she was a little bit better. Monday, back at school. That was our life. And so in those 8 weeks, we kind of got a glimmer of what real life was like again. We were able to go out at the weekend. And so I said, well, I've just trained in this, in hypnotherapy, and I know other people have got amazing results with physical conditions. I know I'm not them, but isn't it worth a go? So I was like prepared to do like 52 sessions, one a week, see if we could just reduce the pain. But we overcame it in one session. We got to her root cause in that single session. And it wasn't the best session I've ever done, but it was my favorite. It's always going to be my favorite, of course, because it was my daughter. And yes, it empowered her. But wow, it did something to me as well, because it's like, well, if I can do this, what else can I do? And so and I'm still in that cycle of, oh, that was amazing. What else, and she's been pain-free, symptom-free and medication-free since then, which is 5 years ago in October this year. So it was just, her root cause was, I need pain to be like everybody else. So I was like excited, and then I went, but I'm not in pain. Who's your everybody? And she said, well, my cousins and my brother. I said, well, how does that work? Because 14 years on, they were okay. And she reminded me that her brother had got asthma at the time, because he's 4 years older. There's 4 years and 4 days between her brother and her cousins and herself. And we all lived locally at the time as well. So one of them had cancer. One of them had got had been born with a hernia and had to have their tonsils removed when they were little. And then, like I said, and her brother had got asthma. So all of them had got pain of their own. And that was the thing. I need pain to connect. I need pain because she's an empath. She feels other people's pain. And she still does that. So you have to watch her a little bit. But she's been pain-free, symptom-free and medication-free since then. When she understands what the body was telling her, she was able to let go of it, because she could see that her pain wasn't helping. And even if they were in pain, her pain wasn't going to help them, was it? So she was able to let go of it anyway. Isn't it amazing?
Wow. That is something remarkable there. And good on you for having decided to take matters into your own hands, because 14 years, I can imagine. I've got girls of my own, and if they had to go through that every single weekend, I wouldn't know what to do. So can you just maybe explain to us what life was like prior to you actually waking up to this episode?
Well, yeah, Fix You by Coldplay was a big thing. Every time we had to go to the hospital, that was always on the radio. And isn't that odd? And so I used to cry listening to it. I still do if I hear it. But I always sent that silent prayer. If there's anything available, please, will you show me what it is? Like, knock me around the head with it if you like. I need to know what the answer is, if there is one. Because I just believed, like a lot of people, that was the way forward and the only way forward. I'd heard of holistic, but I didn't really sort of understand. I thought it was sort of complementary, as we're told, rather than the actual potential to really transform our lives.
That song from Coldplay, Fix It, has a
Fix You.
Fix You. It has,
I will fix you.
It's got a statement that says stuck in reverse.
Yes.
Do we have an instance, or an opportunity here to just talk about what having stuck in reverse was costing both mother and daughter up until you actually got to fix this?
Stuck in reverse. Yes, we're in that cycle. Like I said, Emily was being sick every weekend in the toilet, grew up, and it was either self-injecting this stuff, or before that, she was taking pills. And we were trying to coax her, because we used to put some Ribena or squash in a little cup with the medicine in it, crushing it, hiding it in mashed potato, anything we could to try and get her to take it, because we believed that it was the best thing for her. So yes, that was stuck in reverse, just trying to manage the symptoms best we could. And do you know what? One of her first words that she said when she was able to speak a complete sentence, "Mummy, no walk this morning," meaning I can't walk this morning. She was in her little cot bed and crying her eyes out because she couldn't walk to me in the other room. So that's stuck in reverse. Yes.
And I'm glad you got that weekend back with her, and
we got life back, not just the weekends. We got all of it. It's just wonderful. She's pain-free. She's at work now. She works in a well-known coffee shop. She's also a trained hairdresser, so she may go back to that as well. But the point is, she wouldn't be able to do any of that because her legs were so painful, her ankles were so painful. She had steroid injections in her wrist, her fingers, her knees, her hips, all that. So there was that stuck in reverse as well. We were doing all that too.
You know what I like about what you've done, Rachel, is not only have you learned these modalities, but these have actually been tried and tested on humans, and
yes,
a very special kind of human, your own daughter. Now you specialize in, releasing anxiety, alcohol dependency, autoimmune diseases, without the drugs and countless sessions that
absolutely
normal medical mainstream is prescribing out there. Now how do you then manage to achieve these transformative results, and especially the one day out of 52 that you would have wanted to do with your daughter in a very, very short span of time? Could you walk us through your unique
approach? Yes, absolutely. Because everything, and the more I do this, the more I understand it, everything's got an emotional root cause. And especially if you weren't born with it, it's something you've acquired, so you can let go of it. So there's an emotional reason behind it, and your subconscious mind knows exactly how, when, where, and why it began. And the body speaks to us in pain and symptoms, and where the pain and symptoms are in our bodies tells a deeper story. But the question was, how do I do it? So I get them to relax just by talking to them so they're talking to me with their eyes closed. I just walk them down, like allow them to relax their head, their neck, all that sort of thing. I give them a recording to start with so that they get used to my voice and the method I use. So when we have the session, they already know what to expect. And so by being relaxed, it just means your subconscious mind is more in the forefront. And your subconscious mind is 95%, or at least 95% of everything we do, think, feel, and believe about ourselves. So why not work with that? And the subconscious is also where our memories are stored, and the subconscious is all about emotion as well. So it's the perfect thing to work with. So we just go back to how, when, where, and why it began. And you start daydreaming. It's like, oh, I'm 4 years old, I'm at home, mum and dad are arguing perhaps, or I'm 6 years old, I'm at school, I've been accused of taking a packet of crisps from my friend, and I'm in trouble, and I'm feeling powerless, helpless, and all the shame. It can be all sorts of things. It can be real life scary trauma, or it can be something less significant that as an adult you go, it was all over a packet of crisps, really, but it's not what happened to you, it's the emotions you've attached to it. So this is your non-judgmental space to take your emotional stuff out of your rucksack that you've been carrying on your back all this time, to just see what it is and just let go of it. But we need to understand it before we can release it. So we just do a bit of detective work, find out what it is. And there's a reason you've got the symptoms you have. So we need to find out what the reason is, the plan, the aim, and the goal, how old it thinks you are. Because the thing is, the subconscious mind does not understand past, present, and future. It only understands the now moment, because actually that is the real moment that it all exists just here, doesn't it? So because it only understands the now moment, it doesn't understand that what happened when you were at school is not likely to happen again, or what happened when you were a dependent child living at home is not likely to happen again. It just understands that you experienced it then. And so anxiety is there because of everything you've gone through. It's keeping you on high alert because it thinks you're in danger still. So it's just about understanding where it came from, so that then you can it's about upgrading that subconscious mind so you can let go of it all, because that's no longer you. We do a lot of that. That's no longer me, because I'm not 6, I'm not 10, I'm not 12. It's about nurturing that little you that feels so vulnerable and hurting, so that they feel empowered and free. So we just do the detective work, but that's just part of it. It's about empowering them. And their words are more important than mine, because their words matter. They understand their words better than they understand mine. So it's about parenting that little you, nurturing them. and loving them. Because do you know what? The only thing wrong, in inverted commas, wrong with any of us is the lack of self-love. That's it. And we don't love ourselves because of the stories we tell ourselves. And those stories are from the past. You know, when the teacher said you're stupid, well, you couldn't have said, well, who do you think you are? You shouldn't even be a teacher. We say, oh, you think I'm stupid? I'm stupid. And then we wear that label. And that hurts us, doesn't it? So we're carrying all this hurt around with us, and it's dumbing our sparkle down. It's dumbing the diamond of our potential that we are. So releasing all that trauma, all those old stories, you become a sparkly little diamond. And that is soul essence of who you are. That is your love energy that you're created from. And it's so easy to fall in love with yourself when you see yourself as a sparkling diamond, isn't it?
Oh, of course.
And so from that, and that is who we all are. We're all made of love energy, the same energy that the universe is made of. So that's the only thing wrong with any of us, is we just believe those old stories that we told ourselves, or that other people kindly gave us to us. And so by releasing all those old stories, you come back to your true center. Because, you know, our emotions are the currency of the universe, the currency of our universe, our personal universe. So by releasing those old emotions that made us feel shame and embarrassed and guilty and not lovable, all those stories, you release those, you feel sparkly. Guess what happens? You start creating the life you want to. So it's transformation and manifestation all linked together.
And
Isn't that beautiful?
You absolutely shine if you take ownership of who you are and put yourself out there. Now, Rachel, I mean, obviously, you're coming from a space of being very well invested in this whole world and having an intricate understanding of how it actually works. But I don't think the average everyday person understands that they have that sort of power of standing
absolutely
of themselves. Now, maybe you can comment on that a little bit, because this is not stuff that the mainstream, would like anyone to have an understanding of.
No, they want us to be robots and be in that cycle, don't they, of chasing the money. But actually, if you've got pain and symptoms, it is your body just telling you to go within and release those old stories. And then you sparkle like a diamond, and you can absolutely, you do believe in yourself. I mean, I didn't start off believing in myself at all. I knew other people had done this stuff, but I wasn't them. And if it hadn't been my daughter, if it'd been anybody else down the street, I'd have just gone, no, somebody else can do that. I was just going to file the certificate that I got. I wasn't planning on doing anything with it. So, and I was in toxic relationship patterns as well. So I've healed that. I've got no thyroid because I didn't talk as a child. I wasn't able to speak up and speak my truth. That's what your thyroid's telling you. So there's all messages that your body's speaking to you. So
yeah, you've got
I don't know whether I answered your question though.
Yeah,
Tell me again.
Absolutely. You've got a range of expertise, and it's quite impressive, extending to working with the past, like you say, the present, and, like the future life. Can you maybe just explain a little bit more about your role as a future vision coach? That
is right? Yes.
And how you help people tap into their true potential, and the genius ideas that they came here to give the world.
Yes, well, we've all got genius ideas. And, when we were kids, we were very creative, weren't we? We made up stories. We were, we got a Barbie doll or something, and we were doing all that, but we've lost it along the way. So it's about going back to that creative child that you were, and then going into the future, finding out what that creative idea is for you. And it's very, very powerful. I've done this several times with clients now. It's a recent thing that I'm doing. But the thing is, the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. How we experience time on the planet isn't how it actually is. So it's all happening simultaneously. So a bit like Back to the Future, you can hop, but you're not hopping physically, you're hopping using your subconscious mind. So we're going into the future. The subconscious mind is the quantum playground, so we can create anything from there. So we're going into the future, 5 years, 10 years, seeing your beautiful genius idea, or even seeing what you're doing, what house you live in when you're in 5 years, 10 years, seeing that home, what it looks like, maybe the partner of your dreams. It's all that, whatever you want is available to you. So it's about using your future self as your guru, if you like, because there's no one better than you for advice. Absolutely. So you don't need somebody else. You already know. It's about tapping into that knowingness. It's just a beautiful experience, and I feel really privileged to be able to do it with clients, to see how they were. For example, there was a client I worked with recently who she said, I'm seeing myself, it's like a cafe. I don't want to be here. I'm already a chef. I don't want to do another cafe thing. Oh, hold on. Oh, I see. I'm doing drinks and things, but they're smoothies, they're health drinks. That's what I'm doing. Oh, and there's something behind the back. Let me just have a look. So she went to explore. She was, it's all a holistic center behind the scenes. So people are coming in for what looks like a normal drink, which is a normal drink. It's just fruit and, all the natural ingredients. But then if they want to, there's that invitation to take it further. What a genius plan.
And she saw that projected into the future.
She saw that. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Isn't it beautiful?
Wow. I want to touch up on a little bit on self-love, and I love how you had that diamond at the ready, because so many of us, think we're being crushed, and, life just...
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I felt broken. I have felt broken and unfixable. Right. Absolutely. And you said in a podcast that I was listening to only yesterday, you said we're all meant to shine, and absolutely we are. And we've all got that within us, and you know that, and I know that. And it's so, yeah. What was the question? Sorry.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned, healing emotional pain, really. So a lot of us have been detached from loving ourselves, and
we all have, haven't we?
Right. And then you go in and heal that emotional pain and help people maybe break from toxic relationships that they're just holding on because love used to be served there, but no longer is served. And, there's a whole lot of this stuck in the reverse, people pleasing patterns that a lot of people have. Now, how did you personally maybe navigate this transformation in your own life, and how does this sort of personal growth enhance your ability to now guide your clients towards their own healing?
Okay, well, yes, I felt broken and unfixable, and that was towards the end of my second marriage, and I knew I had to get out of that marriage, but I also knew I didn't trust myself to date again because the message seemed to be getting louder. So it's like, the next time I date, you might hit me, because it's that kind of pattern. And I don't want to be a cat woman, because I was only 47 then. So I can't spend the rest of my life just looking after cats. I need a relationship. So I decided to ask somebody else who was also trained in similar method to work with me. And my root cause was, to really nail it down, is that love is painful. And so every relationship, pretty much every friendship I had got that belief behind it. So I was falling for people who were going to hurt me emotionally. And that's what I thought love was, because I learned that when I was tiny. So it's a big belief. So it's funny, not funny, but it's funny how our emotions, our stories that we tell ourselves have to influence what's out there in our reality. There has to, because we've got that critical filter factor in our subconscious minds that has to mirror back what we believe. So that's why it's transformational and manifestation in one, because you're releasing those old stories that you don't even know you're holding on to, because it's in your subconscious, so it's below your conscious awareness. And so yes, I've released that pattern. I'm within a really loving relationship for the first time in my life. He's amazing. And so yeah, I've done it for me, and it's just wonderful. And the more I help people, the more it lights me up. So it's just a continual thing now.
Absolutely. And I love that, you have, found yourself, and obviously it is a journey for a lot of people, and in the world we live in right now, people just get prescribed either a therapy session or drugs or anything just to numb the symptoms and not specifically go to the root cause. Now, you have what you've called, is it the quantum soul technique?
Yes, yes.
Work with people there. Can you just maybe touch up on how that sort of works, and maybe how people can either jump on and start utilizing that technique from you?
I'm going to start training people in the methods as well in either next month or the month after, very shortly. I'm putting that together because I want more people to be able to, like, having an army of people, because I can only do so many. So it'd be really wonderful to get more people trained in this method as well. So yes, it's just about being relaxed, doing the detective work, using your subconscious mind, because it absolutely knows how, when, and where it all began, being curious about it. And actually, I'm really grateful that I've gone through all that toxic relationship stuff, because so many clients come to me with that narcissistic type of abuse. And so I've got that understanding of how it can impact you and how it makes you feel. And so I often say to my clients, roll the dice again. I'm you, you're me. I've also gone through date rape too, so I've healed that. So very often that it's just whatever comes up I've probably experienced to some degree, but that's wonderful now, because I can talk about it like it happened to somebody else, because I've healed my emotional pain, which is an amazing thing. It really is. So yeah, it's just about going back to how, when, and where it began, finding the root cause, finding out what the plan, the aim, the goal, and the reason is behind it, how old it thinks you are, and then empowering you from those old stories. And then I also give you a recording to listen to that's about 10-15 minutes long to help embed those changes you. One to 4 sessions is enough to release one issue, as a rule of thumb. Sometimes one session's enough, sometimes it takes 4. It's just like a surgeon can't absolutely guarantee it, but that's a general sort of plan, really.
And what would be the best way that people can get a hold of this transformation?
Well, then get hold of me on my website, which is wellnesswithrachel.co.uk. Rachel spelled Rachel. And I'm on Facebook, Rachel Claire Farnsworth. My page is there as well, Wellness with Rachel. I've also got a Facebook group called Decoding the Body's Messages to Transform and Thrive. That's growing all the time. I go live in there every week on a Friday, talking about all sorts of issues. And I've got 2 new free gifts coming out very shortly as well. I've got 2 gifts at the moment, but I'm working on 2 more. One's releasing negative self-talk, because we all have that. And so I want the whole world, this is my goal, the whole world is going to have this recording, because it's going to help all of us. And it's free, so it's 10-15 minutes long. You just need to listen to it in bed at night. You can fall asleep listening to it, and it's going to help really change your life, because what we say to ourselves, we believe. So by changing those old stories and start talking to yourself like a best friend, because let's be honest, if you had a real person talk to you the way you talk to yourself, you'd ditch them years ago, wouldn't you? Absolutely. So by talking to yourself in a better way, you start transformation already. So that's That's coming out very shortly. And then I've got a ebook called Decoding the Body's Messages. So that it's just about a 5-page ebook explaining briefly what the symptoms are in your body, what anxiety is, and all that sort of thing, what not sleeping means. So what your pain on your right side of the body means, what pain on your left side is, what stomach complaints are, what your shoulders are telling you, all of that. And it's just a 5-page thing. I am writing my own book, but that's just taken a little bit longer to get out. So I've done the 5-page ebook first, so that people have got some sort of tangible understanding of what's going on. And I'm hopeful that my book will be out next year.
Fantastic. I bet a lot of people can't wait for that book to come through, and I'll definitely be putting all those links in the show notes below there, Rachel. Now, obviously, your passion for helping others, it's very evident and very obvious. And, while I was looking you up, I just discovered that it stems from your belief that life is for living and not for therapy, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
Can you just maybe let us know how this principle has now become central to your approach, and how does it actually shape the way you're working with people, towards personal transformation?
Because I want them to have as little amount of sessions with me as possible. I don't want them to be on my books for a year, because that's not necessary. I want them to have. So again, it was after I started working with my daughter and we released that, and then you think, did it really work? Then we went to the hospital and we kept getting the checkups, and they said, oh yes, she seems to have outgrown it. And I'm like, how does that happen when you're in the middle of a flare-up? Isn't that curious? So that was the first thing. So then I rented a room locally, and I had a lady came in to see me with post-traumatic stress, and she'd been everywhere looking for solutions. And I said I'd help her, because I thought, well, I could help her potentially more than, at least as well as they have. So we'll now have a session and see what happens. And she knew, she hadn't forgotten what happened to her, because she was held at knife point when she was 6 years old on the way to get an ice cream. And her story's on my podcast as well, that I've just launched. So, and it's so much better when the clients talk about it rather than me. But she came in all really shaking and everything, and she left feeling 10 foot tall in one session, because we cleared it. We healed that pain from being held at knife point, and she hadn't realized how much it impacted her. She said that she's really struggled to open the curtains in her home. That's how much it had impacted her. She was worrying about everything and everybody. And at the end of the session, she looked in the mirror near the front door of the room that I was renting, and she said, you see that? And I'm like, no. She said, well, I never look in the mirror. I can't stand looking in the mirror. I said, why? She said, well, you see there's a little scar there. I said, well, I can't really see it. It's very, very tiny. She said, I never look in the mirror because I hate it. But actually, that's my warrior wound. I was like, oh, okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well done, And then she said, you know what I'm going to do now? So I said, no idea. She said, I'm going to go shopping. I said, oh, that's wonderful. And she almost shook me. She's like 5'0" and I'm 5'10". She almost shook me, and she said, you don't understand. I haven't been shopping for 5 years on my own. I'm going to go shopping now. I'm going to buy my son a birthday card. It's his birthday next week. And I'm going to go on my own. I'm like, oh, that's really big, isn't it? She's like, yes, Rachel, it's very big. And I am going to do that because I feel so empowered. And that's what she did. And I've only had that one session with her, and I caught up with her just a few weeks ago when we were doing the conversation for the podcast. And she said, I didn't just go and buy a birthday card. I went and bought my mother-in-law a big, expensive handbag because she's helped me so much, because I wasn't able to do the stuff that I wanted to do for my own kids. She had to go out and do the shopping and do all the things because I daren't. And now she's a landscape gardener. She's absolutely loving her life. She's fully booked, and she's just, honestly, you want to watch that. It's just an amazing thing. And so her story was like, oh, if I could do that. So this was really, really early on. And then I had a client who I used to work with who'd got psoriasis all over his body. We healed that, or he healed that in that one session. I don't do the healing. The client does the healing. I just the facilitator. So he found his was all trapped anger from being a kid, just normal kid stuff. And now he was really skeptical because he thought I was going to turn him into a chicken. You know, he'd heard all the stage hypnosis stuff. I'm like, I really can't do that any more than I can make you give me £1 million or you can't give me your car keys unless you want me to have them. You know, I can't make you do stuff you don't want. So he's like, okay. So he had the session and we found what the root cause was. And while we were doing it, I said, oh, isn't it curious how all these scenes keep coming up and it's all about anger from being, you know, how you were as a kid. And your skin is so angry. Isn't that curious? And he went, yeah, it is. And the thing was, he knew that he'd broken his knee when he was in his 20s. And then the psoriasis started at the top of his plaster cast and then spread all over his body because his subconscious mind was trying to distract him from how painful his knee was. But unfortunately, it had forgotten to cancel the psoriasis after his knee had healed. And so we were able to let go of it. I said, what do you need to do to let go of it? Because our subconscious minds love imagery. And he said, I just need to have a cleansing bath. So I said, okay, just imagine you're having a cleansing bath. So he did. And then he opened his eyes and he said, what the did you just do to me? Because he felt the release there. So it's like, oh, that's curious, because he was really skeptical. So that was one session. And it's like, wow, if I can do that with somebody who really doesn't believe in this, what else can I do? So it's that curiosity that keeps me going. It's like, oh, that's exciting. Isn't that exciting? So it's just, that it's being a child in a sweet shop. That's what it feels like. Oh, what else, you know? And yesterday was about IBS, and that was all about I need to make her stop because she's not listening. She's just doing for everybody else, and she never makes any time for herself. So I need to make her, you know, when she feels stressed, I need to make her sit down and just relax and go to bed. That's basically what it was doing. And when she understood what it was, you know, she felt the release again. So I'll check in with her next week and see how she's doing. So it's really good.
Fantastic. I mean, obviously, all these transformational stories, because when you give somebody their life back when they had already sort of given up or thought, you know, there's no help or hope out there, you literally transforming lives. And I wish most of this stuff was maybe on mainstream media so that people can actually get an understanding of the help that is out there. And you're no stranger to media exposure, right? I'm sort of speaking to a celebrity here in your own right. You've been featured on platforms like...
Well, I was on TV last week, actually, and it was only a local TV station. But it was interesting how I said to them, I really want to talk about my daughter overcoming her autoimmune disease. They were, oh, I'm not sure you can say that. I better go to the director and sort of talk it through. I said, okay, well, tell me what I can and can't say. So what I was allowed to say was I worked with my daughter and it benefited her health condition. That was it. I couldn't say overcome, and I couldn't say autoimmune disease. And I couldn't say it was the only thing that made it work. You know, the only thing different was that we worked together and that she felt the release. I couldn't say that. And I couldn't say that I've developed my own method in hypnotherapy either. I could, it's really interesting what I said in the end. I said, what can I say? You want me to talk for 5 minutes? This is going to be an interesting conversation, isn't it?
Wow.
But of course, it came on about they wanted to talk about clucking like a chicken, and I'm like, it's not that. And then I said it's just a natural state of relaxation. And he goes, oh yeah, well that's fine. We need to talk about something else. So he sort of shut me down a bit more because it's like we can't talk about that too much. So it's really interesting.
We don't worry about them anymore. I mean, our bodies are telling stories that need to be heard. Absolutely. And you've got a podcast now. Shed a bit of light on that one as well.
It's called Transform and Thrive, and it's just client stories. It's talking about trauma, and trauma is anything that we've gone through that made us feel bad about ourselves. It can be, like I said earlier, it can be anything really significant, or something you've probably even forgotten about. And it's about clients sharing their stories with me on the podcast, so that other people can see what's available for them as well. Because, like I said earlier, I can talk about it, but isn't it better when they do? So it actually came through a coach. The coach was talking about, oh, it'd be great to have a discovery call platform, like a landing page, where a few clients are talking about working with me and what their experiences were. So I started asking clients to, would they be interested? And then I was like, oh, I think this is bigger than just a landing page. This needs to be out there more. So that's when I decided to do a podcast. And there's another lady just came on recently as well, who wanted to talk about trauma and how she can help support people in the workplace. So I said yes, I would talk to her. So she wants to use that episode to promote trauma and how it can influence the workplace, and how it doesn't have to.
Absolutely. And I want to run something past you here, Rachel, and indulge me, if you will. Okay. So, me being African and where I come from, we, in our culture, we have an experience or a ritual that we go through, which basically, children, or not children, but young adults that have maybe just turned to like 14 up to 18, undergo this sort of experience where they, have to go within in order for them to then go without, so that they can now embark on their journey to adulthood. And it's like an initiation ceremony or things of that nature. And from then on, it's like a tap on the shoulder to say, it's your turn to lead. And whatever you went through as a child, or whatever you experienced as a child, you no longer have to live through that. Now, do you think what you are sort of doing and helping people through is like that proverbial tap on the shoulder that is now giving people an opportunity to now step into their genius, so to speak, like what it is that you're talking about, and moving ahead in life?
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. Yes, it is. But the way I do it is going into the subconscious. So it's releasing those stories, because the thing is, the subconscious holds on to all those beliefs that we don't know we're holding on to. So just tap, that sounds an amazing thing that you go through. That is a really fabulous thing. I wish that happened more across the world. But it's still, potentially, there's still stuff in the subconscious mind that's stopping you from living, because you don't believe in yourself because that teacher told you something. Or like for me, it was I wasn't able to talk in public, believe it or not. I wanted to have a session in a group about anxiety, and the week before I stood up and said, right, next week I'm going to be talking about anxiety, except that didn't happen because it sounded like I was having an asthma attack. And I thought, no one's going to pay me to stand there for an hour or more when I'm just like, can't breathe. So I had a session on what that was all about with somebody else. And it was me being 5 years old. I'd forgotten this completely. But in the session, it came back like it happened yesterday. And it was like, oh, I'm 5 years old. The teacher's asked me to stand up. She's asked me a maths question, 10 pence take away 7 pence. And I got the answer right, it's 3p, but I'm just 5. And so I was really proud of myself for getting that answer right under pressure, because I felt a lot of pressure. But instead of praising me, she said, right, okay, now you need to find the change for it in a plastic coin tray, going through the coins and finding the change to make, to find 3 pence. She said, find 3 pence. So I'm looking for a 3 pence piece. That does not exist. But I didn't understand that at 5. So I didn't understand that I needed to make it up. And it felt like a decade had gone past. It was like time slowed down. Everybody was in front of me. All the kids were sort of moving in their chair and talking amongst themselves. And I'm feeling really stupid and embarrassed and ashamed. So my subconscious mind was like, we can't let her do that again. So every time I wanted to stand up and talk, it gave me an asthma attack to stop me. Isn't it curious?
Interesting. And I
Of
just want to revisit that a little bit, Rachel, if you allow me.
course, absolutely.
If you would stand right next to that 3 pence girl who is 5 years old and is looking for just one coin to save her life,
Yeah.
what would you tell her right now?
That's exactly what we do in the session. We go up to her and we sort of say, look, we don't belong in that school anymore. Come away. You know, the teacher wasn't helping you. I mean, I worked in a bank for 18 years, so I got over the money story. But subconsciously that was still driving it. So it is about going into that scene, nurturing her. What do you need? Well, she needs to be held and told, it's okay, sweetheart. And actually, she needs to know that she no longer goes to that school. So we can make as much disruption as we want to. So we can open the door, slam the door, tell the teacher to, you know, why is she even a teacher? She's not empowering anybody. She's being quite nasty and brutal, and just leave the school. And so in that scene, I was just sort of like knocking chairs down, banging the door, because I felt so helpless and hopeless as that child. So it's taking your power back. Even obviously that didn't happen, but it's like, it's freeing, it's liberating to be able to do that as an adult. So that is what I did. And it feel now I can stand up in public and talk. It's just amazing.
Oh, fantastic. And, you know, with all the transformation and the change that you've done, not only for yourself, for Emma even, and for other people, your client who overcame PTSD, and all the other people that have just
I work with clients around the world now. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough for the time
Thank you. I can't thank you enough either. I could talk to you all day. It's just been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Prosper. It's wonderful to meet you and to be on here.
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't have done this show justice if we didn't actually explore the very thing that you help other people to do, which is discovering their future genius or their genius idea. Now, would you maybe share with our audience, now that they've met a Rachel and she's no longer the 3 pence 5-year-old, she's now this girl who's in the media eye, being featured on platforms like Sky TV, Roku, and now the Online Prosperity Show. What can people expect from Rachel in the future?
Wow, who knows? I've got my my college course is opening up. My virtual college doors are opening very shortly. I see myself on stage more, talking to real people in real live audiences, and potentially having workshops and things like that going on, so that we're doing group sessions on stage and in private rooms, you know, with like, and also I'm working with Laura Showfroth very soon. She's all about real health and mindset. So she's all about food and nutrition. That's how she helped herself overcome an incurable disease that the doctors had told her it was incurable. She managed to do that using food and nutrition. So together we are holistic, spelled holistic health acceleration. And we're having a membership group program coming through very shortly. That's going to be in a few weeks' time. That's launching. So that's about more affordable group sessions. And so she's got similar energy to me. She's such an angel. She's absolutely wonderful. You know, she's just a gorgeous lady. So we're working together to help people in both those ways. I'm doing my stuff, she's doing hers. So that's coming online very shortly. So again, in the comfort of your own home, wherever you are. And yes, I see myself helping more people in real life, you know, on stage, having those group sessions with other people who've trained in similar things to me, so that we can really start empowering the world. Because like you said, we're all here to shine. We absolutely are. And so the more people I can impact, the better. I'm here to, I'm here for the whole of humanity, if you like. And that might sound a bit ostentatious or something, but it's just the message needs to get out there, whether it's my voice or somebody else's. The message needs to, it doesn't, like you said, it's about shining. It's about releasing your old stuff and shining brightly so that more people, because when you light your beacon, other people have got permission to light theirs, haven't they? And that's what it's about.
Fantastic. Now, Rachel, your life story and your experience have so much value. I think you owe us that book now.
I do, yes. Well, let me just do my college course, get that at launch, and then it will be, I've got 3 things. So that's happening, Laura's happening, and me, and then the book will be, I've written a draft, so it's not nothing, it's in progress, but then I can focus my attention on that to make it, what I want it to be. I don't want it to be half-baked. It's got to be the real deal.
Absolutely. I really appreciate your time. And wow.
Thank you. I appreciate
what an incredible journey we've been on today with Rachel there. I mean, her dedication to transforming lives and her unique approach to releasing emotional pain and anxiety and disease has left us truly inspired, me especially. And from the time you helped your daughter overcome that autoimmune disease to assisting clients in finding their own true potential, your impact is immeasurable. So thank you for all the work that you're doing on behalf of humanity.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's just been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Prosper. And it would be great to have another conversation another time, because it's just wonderful what you're doing as well. So you keep shining too.
Fantastic. And for those that are watching right now, if you're ready to embark on your own transformative journey, be sure to connect with Rachel through her various platforms. I will definitely put some of the links in the bottom there. And also don't forget her upcoming college opening in September, and she's promised us a book, so there's so much to look forward to. All right, remember that life is for living, and Rachel is here to help you do just that. Until next time, this is Prosper and Rachel. We're signing off from the Online Prosperity Show. Bye for now.